This is the introduction to film and society. So, what is a film? This is also called movie, motion picture, or moving picture. It is a visual art form used to simulate experiences that communicate ideas, stories, perceptions, feelings, beauty, or atmosphere through the use of moving images. So, these images are generally accompanied by sound, all the sound effects, and more rarely other sensory stimulations. So, film is a remarkably effective medium in conveying drama and especially in the evocation of emotions. There are basic film genres. First, we have the action film. So this has close ties to classic strife and struggle narratives that you find across all manner of art and literature. It's also one of our best examples of the evolution of our cinematic hero's journey and the classic hero versus villain narratives, which you will find across cinema and genres. So ito yung mga bakbakan, mga lamanan. Ito yung lagi nating nakikita sa movie. Also, yun nga, kapag ang example, if teleserye, the best example we have is the Provinciano. So there are some main genres of action film. First, we have the war and military action film. It's It is the film came in the form of war and military fiction. For example, here is The Outpost. It is all about the Afghanistan Wars, 2009 Battle of Kamdesh at Combat Outpost, catering in a movie that deserved a wider audience. Another example here is The News of the World. It is all about the Civil War Hank's Captain Jefferson Kyle Kidd. So he is a veteran who travels the Southwest performing stories from newspapers for illiterate and itinerant workers, many of whom are also his fellow war veterans. So Mr. Kidd or Captain Kidd somehow finds himself saddled with the task of delivering an orphaned white girl. So this is the white girl raised by Kiowa tribe to distant white relatives in Texas and must negotiate hostile territory and even more hostile white men to get her there. So there, the war and military action film. So next, subgenre of action film is the spy and espionage action. So this includes the elements of mystery and suspense. But it is also the subgenre that defines the car chase. And one of the best example here is the Mission Impossible. I know most of you guys already watched this beautiful movie by Tom Cruise or of Tom Cruise. And of course, the famous martial art action. So, kung kanina is they are using tools such as guns, and car chasing. Here, it focuses on hand-to-hand combat and stunt choreography. So, the famous martial artists are Bruce Lee, Jet Li, Jackie Chan. Another action film is the Western shoot 'em up action. This style is so ingrained with the action genre that elements of the Western shoot 'em up appear in all manner of action films, with classic shootouts, standoffs, and comic book style heroes fighting dynamic villains. So it's all about the life in Western um, parts, such as the America, I mean the United States. So for example, here is the Hell or High Water. So it is all about a divorced father and his ex-con older brother resort to a desperate scheme in order to save their family's ranch in West. So the next genre of film is the comedy. So this is a favorite genre of film audiences, whether the audience is young or old. From the very beginning of cinema, the comedy genre has been a fun-loving, quite sophisticated, and innovative genre that's delighted viewers for decades. So this genre has also one of the most flexible in a way that is its roots have made their way into the very fabric of cinema and the many other genres contained with it. The art of warming a heart and bringing a smile to a viewer's face will never be lost, nor should it be considered anything but truly powerful. So there are also subgenres for the comedy film. So what are those? First is the slapstick comedy. It traces its roots back to vaudeville in the stage, where actors perform exaggerated physical stunts and gags. So as you can see here, the movement and actions of the actor Jim Carrey in the movie or the film The Mask. It's kind of exaggerated because it is what slapstick comedy is. It can also be in the form of child friendly cartoon slapstick gags like Despicable Me, the famous Minions. Another subgenre of comedy is the Crowball Comedy. These comedies often get associated with the romantic film genre. I know some of you guys were familiar of rom-com or the romantic comedy. Well, the difference is just in this is screwball comedy. It the most of its content is comedy, while in rom-com most of its content were romance. So example here is the movie Change App. It is all about a playboy and a family man are best buddies who want each other's life and they get the chance when they swap buddies after a night of partying. So I think the um, romance part here is when they already swapped their buddies and yes because one of them were playboy or is a playboy. Next is the parody comedy. So the idea of mocking or lampooning other form of art is one of the most powerful forms of comedy, as it allows audiences to both laugh and analyze preconceived notions about the source of the ridicule. So idea of mocking or lampooning other forms is one of the most powerful forms of comedy. Yes, parody doesn't always have to be mean. Many of our favorites comedy icons work in this space in a positive way. Well, you can also see the parody in some comedy series or comedy show in our TV networks here in the Philippines. Example here is the Meet the Spartans movie. So this is mainly a parody of the 2007 film 300, although it is also references many other films, TV shows, people, and pop culture events of the time. Next subgenre of comedy is the black comedy. So in terms of scrabble subgenre, it is kinda safe and clean. Comedy also lends itself well to darker, which you can explore with the darker comedy subgenre. But typically, it is a black humor. Black humor is a combination of, yeah, black and humor. The meanings are clear that it is a humorous way of treating something that is serious. These are subjects we wouldn't normally laugh at. For example, war, murder, death. So these are the situations that we wouldn't normally laugh at. For example, here is the death of Stalin. This is about the death of the dictator Joseph Stalin. So, nagkasakit siya and then eventually he died. His ministers take in charge of the power. Some want positive change, other have more bad motives. So I guess yung magiging plan nila para makuha yung power, yung mga may mga bad motives, yun yung magpapatawa sa atin or magiging comedy sa part ng movie na ito. Next is the romance. This is a favorite pastime for couples, as they said, looking to escape in a world of romance. It is a countless stories of love and courtship. So first we have the historical drama under romance film genre. So the central themes of the romantic film genre appear in historical romance novels. For example, is The Notebook, The Titanic. There. Romantic drama, these are more complex versions that dives deeper into conflicting emotions of romance and relationships. It deals with other issues like tribulations, death, separations, infidelity, and the introduction of love triangles. Ito na yung mga third party na siguradong papaluhain kayo. Romantic comedy. So filmmakers and audiences alike discovered early on that laughter and love make great on-screen partners as rom-coms quickly became one of the most popular genres, launching the careers of many talented actors. As simple as they make people or they make their audiences laugh and at the same time feel loved and joy when they are watching this kind of movie. So, for example, here is The Holiday. And also, next one is the chick flick. So, romance films chick flick, it is combines comedy, drama, and romance, often predominantly marked toward women. And then paranormal romance. Existing within this context is described as beyond the scope of normal scientific understanding. Okay, and we have the horror film genre. So it seeks to elicit fear or disgust in its audience for entertainment purposes. Horror films additionally aim to evoke viewers' nightmares. For it to be effective, horror may also overlap with the fantasy, supernatural fiction, and thriller genres. So, top horror film that we discuss is The Conjuring, also The Exorcist. there are also subgenres for horror film. First, we have the slasher film, where it involves a killer murdering a group of people, usually by use of bladed tools. So, although the term slasher may occasionally be used informally as a generic term for any horror film involving murder, film analysts cite an established set of characteristics. Example is The Silence of the Lambs. So it is all about a young FBI cadet must receive the help of a manipulated cannibal killer to help catch another serial killer. It is about a madman who skins his victims. Binabalatan nila binabalatan niya yung mga nagiging victim niya by bladed tools. So next is the zombie horrors. These are fictional creatures usually portrayed as reanimated corpses or virally infected humans. So zombie films are often fun projects for aspiring horror filmmakers, as the styles and the tropes are so widely known at this point. And other than some makeup and costume design, the zombie horror field doesn't require much, and you can film it pretty much anywhere. Of course, the folk horror is also under the horror genre of film. It explores the terror of the unknown in natural and rural regions beyond the safe confines of urban life. So, outside of such hallmark styles as slashers and zombies, there are many horror subgenres that more thoroughly explore what we find fascinating and frightening. So, here in the Philippines, there is usual folk horror, for example, Manananggal, Tiyanak, Tikbalang, all of that were part of folk horror. Next, we have the body horror. So it examines the terrors of our own human bodies. Best example here is the human centipede. It is all about a mad scientist kidnaps and mutilates a trio of tourists in order to reassemble them into a human centipede. So the the science that scientist is stitching their mouths to each other's rectums. So pinagtatagpi-tagpi sila, pinagtatapat yung bunganga ng isa dun sa puwetong isa. It's kind of experiment of the human bodies. Last genre, we have the science fiction film genre. So this genre has stayed strong throughout cinematic history, as film has remained one of the most popular mediums for showcasing mankind's technical advancements, as well as a means to wrestle with higher concepts like alien life forms, artificial intelligence, and humanity's place in the universe. There are also subgenres for this as science fiction. First, we have the space travel. Science fiction has enjoyed a great film and television history, exploring the galaxy on futuristic spaceships. Best example here is the Star Wars. Also is the Battlestar Galactica. Next, we have the time travel, similar to science and space travel. Science fiction has a long history of exploring the concept of time travel. Example is the Adventures Endgame. Next is the Cerebral Science. It is science fiction film offers a rich tradition to filmmaking created enough to explore it in a new and exciting ways or theme. Even more abstract than space or time travel of the human mind has long captivated science fiction audience. Example here is the Eternal Sunshine movie. It is a story of a couple that when their relationship turns sour or hindi na maganda, there are major problems that they faced while in their relationship. So this couple undergoes a medical procedure to have each other erased from their memories. Well, hindi yun naman nangyayari sa tunay na buhay. Next, we have the robot and monster films. These are films about, of course, robot and monsters. So, best examples were Transformers, Jurassic Park. And lastly, we have the disaster and alien invasion. This is the most well known storyline in science fiction cinema. Its appeal is simple. While we may yearn to know whether there is life in the universe behind the human race, we wonder what would happen if they came to us first. And what if they are not friendly, right? So, on the first example is the Mars attacks. It is about the invasion of the Martians. So there, our first lesson for chapter 1 of the subject film, intro to film and society.